Hey guys, this is me, reobebo here, and today I want to talk about my favorite RPG battle systems. And the reason I want to talk about it is just because that I think it's a pretty unique topic that not many people on YouTube, talk about. And it's what's cool about the RPG genre is just that if you just choose like two random RPGs, you probably most likely will get a different kind of gameplay experience from it. And that's what I really like about this genre. It's also one of the reasons why the RPG genre is my favorite genre, because you'll just get some really different kinds of games, whether it's turn-based or action-based combat. You'll find a really great variety of gameplay styles. And that's why I want to talk about my favorites out of the bunch. And with that out of the way, here's my list. Now, the first game I want to talk about is actually a game I played somewhat recently and I haven't really beaten yet. But, I just had so much fun with this game's battle system that I just really want to talk about it right now. And that is Shadow Hearts Covenant. And, I mean, this is my first Shadow Hearts game that I've played, since the other games on Amazon are pretty high, and I heard the third game isn't that great. So I decided to go with the second one, which most people said was the best. And it's just a really fun game in general. I highly recommend you do get this game. It's one of the better traditional JRPGs that, at the same time, has a lot of cool, unique twists on it. And the battle system has a very cool twist to it, in that when you choose attack, usually in turn-based RPGs, you press attack, the guy will attack, of course. But in Shadow Hearts Covenant, you have this thing called the Judgment Ring, and imagine it like a clock, just like a circle, and like just a second hand just moving around. And there are these orange and red areas on this ring, and the cool part is that if you press X on the orange markers, you will hit your enemy, but if you miss, you'll completely miss your attack. But if you hit the red markers, which are really small, but if you do successfully hit it, you will get more damage out of your attacks. And I found that really cool, really addictive. It even goes for the magic system, since you want to get that, perfect red marker, and it's just really addictive just to really get, all your characters perfect, and it's really satisfying as well when you get all red and you get perfect, and your attack increases by maybe like 10 or like 8. It's really satisfying and it's just a whole ton of fun. It's really addictive in some way. I actually, even though the random battle counter was a bit high in my opinion, I still really didn't mind that much, because just the combat was so much fun. So I really do highly recommend this game in general, and the combat's just really fun if you're into that kind of stuff. Another cool and unique turn-based battle system would be the Grandia series, and especially Grandia 2, since I like that game the best out of the 3 games. But what's really cool about the Grandia games is that the game is turn-based, yet it's real-time. So it's sort of a mix. It's really interesting in the fact that you can actually cancel an enemy's attack and just restart his turn, because you have the option to choose attack or critical attack. And if you press critical attack, like let's say when an enemy's charging up for a magical spell, you press critical attack on the enemy, you'll cancel his spell and his turn is just restarted. And I just found that really cool. It was just a lot of fun for the battle system. And I recommend you get all the Grandia games. I believe they're all really cheap now. I believe the first one you could easily get PSN for $10. I got Grandia 2 for like $10 as well, I believe, and I also got Grandia 3 is like 15, I believe. So the game series is actually really cheap, and the battle system's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of depth to it as well, since the more you use a magic spell, the stronger it gets, and it's just a whole ton of fun. I highly recommend you do get into the Grandia series. It's a really fun, simple game, and the battle system is just probably the best part of the series in general. So Grandia series is a great recommendation from me. Another really great combat system is the combat system in Final Fantasy X. And, Final Fantasy X is my favorite in the series. I know not many people agree. I know you don't have to. It's just my opinion. I just think it's the best. But I think the combat was one of the biggest step-ups from the other Final Fantasy games, since, in my opinion, while I did like a lot of the Final Fantasy games, pre-10, I would say that the combat system wasn't... It was good, but it wasn't amazing. I think Final Fantasy X really was a really great step up. And what I really like about it is that instead of that timed action bar, you sort of this, just normal turn-based. Depending on your speed, this character will attack first, or the enemy will attack first. What's really unique about it is just that certain party members are, effective against certain enemies. So let's say Orin, who's sort of your power character, he's really good at defeating enemies that have really great defense, or someone like Waka, who who's good at attacking like aerial foes and such, and I just had a lot of fun with this combat system. It was really great, and one of the cool things about it is just that, you know, it was random battle, but it was never too annoying. You know, I played a lot of, you know, turn-based RPGs where, you know, the random encounter rate was a bit too high and it got really annoying, but Final Fantasy had a really great encounter rate, and it did make the battle system feel, you know, really tired later on, and it was just always fun. And also, yes, I had that magic system similar to Pokemon where, you know, fire is strong against blizzard, and, you know, and water is strong against fire, etc. And, you know, it was just a big step up from the other games in my opinion. It was just a great combat system for just a great game. I absolutely loved, you know, Final Fantasy X. You know, you should play all the most of the Final Fantasy games. Not all, most, since some of them are pretty bad, but, well, especially the later ones I really wasn't a big fan of. But definitely, I just really like Final Fantasy X's battle system, and I hope you liked it as much as I did. Since we're on the topic of Final Fantasy, I want to talk about another game that I played really recently. Well, even though I did beat it this time, but I just had a whole ton of fun with the game's battle system, and that is The Last Story. And The Last Story is actually made with some of the major players who developed Final Fantasy. And, you know, the game is not actually turn-based like all the other Final Fantasies. It's actually an action-based combat, but it's just really different from a lot of action RPGs. I mean, instead of just, you know, just straight up attacking, hacking, slashing, dodging, you actually could take cover in this game. There's a bit of stealth in there as well. And what's cool is that, you know, you can just hide behind cover, and then you could come out of cover and actually do an attack to an enemy that'll give him more damage. And it was just a really fun battle system. It was really simple, yet at the same time there's a lot of good complexities, and that's what really makes a great battle system in my opinion. Just that simplicity on the outside, but like when you get deep down, there's a lot of complexity. And I know a lot of people were kind of mixed with The Last Story's combat system, but you're either a lover of this battle system or you're a hater of it. Some people thought it was a bit too, you know, confusing, just too much, a bit messy. I just loved it. I thought it was a fantastic battle system. It was just so much fun. I mean, the only problem I had really was the fact that the battles were a bit too easy. I wish it was a bit more difficult. It didn't give you that tension that I really wanted, but overall, you know, this battle system was a ton of fun, really unique as well. You know, I highly suggest this one. You know, if you want to try something really new, like in terms of combat, I think The Last Story is a great game to try out. Now, another great RPG combat system that comes from a long line of games that have just great combat as well, and those are the Mario RPGs. I mean, these RPGs are just great. Like, you wouldn't expect an RPG with Mario to be like all that great, but oh my god, these games are so much fun. From the Mario and Luigi series, the Super Mario RPG, from the Paper Mario series, all of them are just great games, and they all have fun combat systems. But in my opinion, like, out of all the Mario RPGs, my favorite is the Paper Mario series, and my favorite out of the Paper Mario series is Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. And what makes this game so great is just that, like all the Mario RPGs, like, it's turn-based, but it does require a lot of precise timing. Like, for example, like, if you're about to attack an enemy, which is, you know, jump in this game, so when you press jump on an enemy in Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, when you jump on the enemy, like, you could just do one attack, maybe you'll do like 3-4 damage. But the cool part is that if you press A, like, just before you step on the enemy, you get to actually jump on him twice, giving him extra damage. And, you know, same as well for, you know, your items, partners. And what's really cool about Paper Mario Thousand Years Door is that there's actually an audience system in the game. Is that the more, you know, the more well done your timing is, like, the more people join your audience. And what's cool is that some people in your audience can throw you like helpful items like mushrooms and such, but others can actually try to harm you and throw stuff at you. But if you press X at the right time, you can actually deflect that. And there's just a lot of cool intricacies with the Paper Mario games in general, but Thousand Year Door, I just felt it did the best out of all the games. And in my opinion, it's just one of my favorite RPGs of all time. Like, the storyline is just a whole ton of fun to go through. I mean, it's not deep at all, but it is just really fun to go through. Like, the Delfino people from Delfino Plaza from Super Mario Sunshine are actually mobsters in this game and whatnot. And it's really funny. Like, there's a part where you're like supposed to be a professional wrestler in this game. Like, the game has a great sense of humor, a great sense of fun. It just has this very lighthearted feel, and I think that's what really makes this game stand out from other RPGs. So honestly, all the Mario RPGs are great. So if you are about to get into the Paper Mario games, also get into the Mario and Luigi series, and also try out the Super Mario RPG. Like, you know, all these games are fantastic. They all have great combat. But I just thought the Thousand Year Door was just a bit better. But, you know, overall, all of them were great. I highly recommend these games. You know, just if you have a GameCube, Wii, you know, Super Nintendo, DS, just get as many of these games as possible. You won't regret them, trust me. Now, there's a lot more games I really want to talk about, but in order to make this video not seem too redundant, I'm probably going to break this into a second part, maybe a third part. Hopefully not. I hope I do finish this in the second part. But thank you guys for watching so much. What did you think of the games I talked about? Did you agree with them, disagree with them? Please tell me in the comment section below. And, you know, if you can, just rate, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out. And, you know, thank you guys so much. And I'm reobebo, guys, and peace out.